As soon as I stepped through the front door, exhaustion crashed over me like a tidal wave. Another 12-hour shift, another day of sacrificing my own priorities so they could live comfortably. It had been this way for years. I had shouldered the weight of the mortgage, the bills, the endless expenses, all without complaint. Yet as I entered, I heard them laughing. Not a care in the world. Jeremy lounged on the couch, controller in hand, engrossed in whatever game he was playing. His brand new gaming setup, top-tier display, ergonomic chair, an expensive console that cost more than my monthly car payment, was all courtesy of me. Earlier that day, he had texted me a link to yet another high-end gadget with a simple demand: buy me this. I hadn't even responded. I tossed my keys onto the counter. Yo, I said, voice heavy with fatigue. Did you apply to any of those jobs I sent you? Without looking up, Jeremy let out a small chuckle. Nah. They're all trash. You wouldn't want me working some low-wage gig anyway, right? I clenched my jaw, biting back the sharp response burning in my throat. Before I could say anything, my mother walked in from the kitchen, drying her hands with a dishcloth. Oh, don't start pestering him, Aaron, she sighed. He's still figuring things out. I turned to her, barely able to mask my frustration. He's 28, Mom. He spends every day doing nothing. Jeremy smirked but still didn't bother looking away from the screen. Not true. I game. A bitter laugh slipped past my lips. And you're just fine with me paying for everything. Mom exhaled dramatically, rolling her eyes. You always blow things out of proportion. We're grateful, really. But it's not like we're draining your bank account. It's only money. Only money. The word slammed into me with the force of a hammer. Only money. The countless skipped dinners, cancelled vacations, and nights spent in a rundown apartment just so they could live in comfort. And to them, it was only money. I turned back to Jeremy, a slow simmer of anger bubbling beneath my exhaustion. Well, if it's just money, why not buy your own gaming setup? That finally made him pause. His fingers stilled on the controller, and for the first time, he glanced at me. A smirk curled at the corner of his lips. Bro, why are you freaking out? You can totally afford it. And just like that, something inside me snapped. Let's see who keeps the roof over your head now. The laughter stopped. Silence thickened the air. Jeremy's smug expression faltered, and my mother's brows knitted together. She waved a dismissive hand. Aaron, quit the dramatics. You always threaten, but you never follow through. But this time, she was wrong. I pulled out my phone, heart pounding but hand steady, and opened my financial app. A few taps were all it would take. The mortgage section glowed on the screen, the cancel payment button waiting beneath my fingertips. Aaron, Mom said, voice shifting, less dismissive now, more uncertain. You don't actually mean that. I met her gaze, cold and unwavering. Why wouldn't I? Because you care about us, she reasoned, her tone soothing, as if she were reminding me of something I had simply forgotten. You wouldn't abandon your family. I let out a dry laugh. Abandon my family? I gestured around the house. This never felt like mine. I was just the one paying for it. Jeremy chuckled, leaning back against the couch. You like taking care of us. My eyes locked onto his, and for once, a flicker of unease crossed his face. No, Jeremy. I liked believing that, one day, you'd grow up. That Mom might actually appreciate everything I sacrificed. But now I see the truth. You don't appreciate it. You expect it. To you, Mom, I'm not a son, I'm an ATM. And to you, Jeremy, I'm just a joke. Jeremy shifted uncomfortably, but Mom wasn't ready to give up. Her voice softened as she stepped closer. Sweetheart, you're overworked. You need rest. Let's talk this through calmly. I exhaled sharply, shaking my head. I am tired. But I'm not overwhelmed. Not anymore. And with that, I tapped the button. Mortgage payment, deactivated. The color drained from Mom's face. Her lips parted slightly, as if trying to process what had just happened. Jeremy's eyes widened. Sliding my phone back into my pocket, I exhaled slowly. There. Let's see how funny it is when the bills start piling up. Mom was the first to recover. Aaron, this isn't okay. I already did it. You're blowing this out of proportion, she snapped, the false concern vanishing, replaced by irritation. You owe us. A humorless laugh escaped me. I owe you nothing. She recoiled as if I had slapped her. Jeremy shot up from the couch, his smugness finally giving way to panic. Dude, what the hell? You're really gonna let us go broke over some stupid fight? I met his stare without flinching. You're 28, Jeremy. Get a job. His gaze darted toward Mom, silently pleading for her to fix this. Her jaw tightened. Turn it back on. No. No. For the first time in years, they understood, I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't going to cave. Their comfortable little world was about to crumble. Silence stretched between us, thick and unrelenting. Jeremy swallowed hard. You're really doing this, he whispered. I crossed my arms. Yeah, Jeremy. I am. Mom inhaled sharply, scrambling for control. Aaron, please. Be practical. We're your family. I shook my head. Family doesn't treat someone like a wallet. Family doesn't laugh while the person keeping everything afloat is drowning. You've let Jeremy sit around for years while I've broken myself keeping this place running. That ends now. Her lips parted, but no words came. Jeremy scoffed, but the bravado was gone. Whatever. Like we even care. I smirked. Oh, you'll care. Grabbing my car keys, I headed for the door. Best of luck handling those expenses. The last thing I heard before the door slammed shut was my mother's shaken voice. What are we supposed to do now? For the first time in years, I didn't care. I didn't return that night. Or the next. For the first time, I slept without worry, without checking my bank balance in a cold sweat. 48 hours passed before the messages started flooding in. Mom, Aaron, we need to talk. Please. Mom, the loan company called. The payment didn't go through. Call me ASAP. Jeremy, dude, are you seriously doing this? I didn't respond. By the third day, their tone had shifted. Mom, how could you treat your mother this way? Jeremy, wow. Very mature. Hope you're proud. I was. The messages had changed. No longer filled with demands or accusations, my mother's latest plea was different. Aaron, please. I'm scared. I don't know what to do anymore. For a long while, I just stared at the words on my screen. This time, there was no entitlement, no scolding, no feigned exasperation, only fear. A genuine, unfiltered terror that she might truly be out of options. I set my phone down. Let her sit in it. Let her feel, for the first time, what it was like to have no safety net. The silence stretched on for a week before their desperation reached another level. The messages turned into calls. At first, I ignored them, letting the phone vibrate against the nightstand, letting their panic fester. But after the third call in under an hour, I finally picked up. The moment I answered, my mother's anxious voice flooded through the speaker, breathless and frantic. Aaron! Thank heavens! Listen, we're in trouble. The home loan is overdue, and the bank says if we miss another deadline, penalties will start piling up. You have to handle this. Immediately. I leaned back against my chair, my voice steady, calm. No, you need to handle it. A sharp breath. Then, exasperation, as if I were the unreasonable one. You're not understanding, Aaron. If another payment is missed, legal warnings will be sent. This isn't amusing anymore. I was never laughing. Silence. Then, her tone softened, slipping into the familiar syrupy warmth she always used when she needed something. Sweetheart, she murmured, I know you're upset, but you can't just walk away from your family. We need you. I exhaled slowly. I didn't walk away, Mom. I just stopped letting you use me. There's a difference. Another pause. Then, the mask slipped, and the sharpness returned. Fine. If you want to sit there and let your own family suffer, so be it. But don't come begging when you realize how cruel you've been. A short, bitter laugh escaped me. You still don't get it, do you? What's there to understand? She snapped. We're blood, Aaron. Families take care of each other. No, I said, my voice cold and final. I took care of you. And all you ever did was take. In the background, I heard Jeremy's voice, dismissive, smug. He's just pretending. He'll fold. That sealed it. Take care, Mom. I ended the call and, without hesitation, blocked both of their numbers. For the first time in a very long time, I felt completely free. But cutting them off didn't mean the consequences stopped. 1 week later, their desperation took a new form. Calls started coming from unknown numbers, voicemail after voicemail stacking up. At first, they were predictable. Guilt. Aaron, how do you sleep at night knowing your mother is in pain? Do you hate us that much? Dismissal. This is just a phase. I know you, Aaron. You always come back. Quit the drama and fix this. Panic. Please, Aaron. The second overdue notice came today. I don't know what to do. I listened to each of them in silence. Then I deleted them. They still didn't understand. It had never been my house. Never been my responsibility. And I was never going back. But then, on the 10th day, something new arrived, a message from Mrs. Martha, our elderly neighbor. Aaron, I don't want to alarm you, but your mom just came by crying. She says she's unwell and really needs help. I'm worried. Can you check on her? Sick. Naturally. I ran a hand down my face, sighing deeply. Manipulation was my mother's specialty, but this was a new low. For a long time, I sat in silence, debating whether to ignore it. But something in me knew I needed to see it with my own eyes. If she was truly sick, I'd handle it. If this was just another act, it would be the final time I ever set foot in that house. As daylight faded, I pulled into the driveway, staring at the place I had sacrificed so much to keep standing. But now, looking at it, I felt nothing. No weight. No guilt. Just distance. I knocked. No answer. Knocked again, firmer this time. Finally, the door creaked open. There she was, wrapped in a thick blanket, her face pale, her eyes rimmed with red. She swayed slightly, one trembling hand gripping the doorframe. "Oh, Aaron," she rasped, barely above a whisper. I knew you'd come." I folded my arms. "What's wrong?" She coughed weakly, pressing a frail hand to her forehead. I don't know. Probably just stress. The house, your brother. I can barely eat anymore." Barely eat. My gaze flickered past her into the house, where an open pizza box sat on the coffee table, half the slices missing. A soda can rested beside it. I exhaled sharply. "Enough. Cut the act, Mom." Her eyes widened, her expression instantly shifting to innocent bewilderment. "What are you talking about?" "You're not sick," I said plainly. "You just thought pretending to be helpless would make me fold." For a fraction of a second, her face twitched. Then, another weak cough, this one noticeably less convincing. "Aaron, please, I stepped inside and shut the door behind me. "That's enough. This is pathetic." She straightened slightly, suspiciously quick for someone supposedly on the verge of collapse. "You're being heartless," she hissed. "Do you even care about us anymore?" I looked her in the eye. "Not anymore." She sucked in a sharp breath, as if I had struck her. "I did care," I continued, voice steady. "For years, I sacrificed everything for this family. I worked non-stop while all you did was take. You called me selfish, ungrateful, but the truth is, you only loved what I could provide. And now that it's gone, so is your love." Tears welled in her eyes. "That's not true, Aaron. We love you." "No," I corrected. "You depended on me." For the first time, real fear flickered in her expression. The dawning realization that I wouldn't be coming back. I turned toward the door. "Figure it out yourself, Mom." She reached for my arm. "Aaron, please." I pulled away. "Goodbye, Mom." And this time, I truly meant it. I stepped outside into the cool evening air, closing the door behind me. Even through the wood, I could still hear her trembling voice calling after me. "Aaron, don't. Please don't walk away." I ignored her. The breeze brushed against my skin, but I barely felt it. My chest wasn't tight with guilt. My stomach wasn't knotted with anxiety. There was no anger, no sadness. Only relief. Sliding into my car, I gripped the steering wheel and exhaled slowly. It was finished. No more exhausting myself to keep their lives comfortable. No more guilt-tripping. No more being their ATM. I was finally free.